Silas Marner, written by George Eliot. So I'm going to take the chapters 13, 14 and 15. Chapter 13. At the Red House, the men were dancing and Godfrey stands to the side of the parlor to admire Nancy. Godfrey suddenly notices Silas Marner carrying Godfrey's child and he was shocked. Godfrey walks with Mr. Lammeter and Mr. Crackentrop to discover what Silas has bought. The squire angrily asks him why he has interlude. Silas answers that he is looking for a doctor. He also says that he found a woman who lies dead near his door. Godfrey comes to know about Molly and he is terrified. Mrs. Gimble suggests that Silas could leave the girl at the Red House and Silas refuses. Godfrey insists on accompanying the doctor, Mr. Gimble, to Silas' cottage and they pick up Dolly to serve as a nurse. Mr. Gimble is not a doctor because he doesn't have medical degree and inherited his position as village doctor. Godfrey waits outside the cottage and thinks that if Molly is dead, he is free to marry Nancy. Gimble comes out and says that Molly is dead. Godfrey says to Gimble that he had seen a woman of familiar description the day before. Silas was holding the child and says that he wants to take the child because he is alone. Godfrey gives Silas money to buy clothes for the little girl and then hurries to catch up with Mr. Gimble. Then Godfrey says to Gimble that the dead woman is not the woman he saw before. Gimble says that if he were younger, he could have bring the child with him. Then his thought turns to Nancy. Godfrey tells himself that the girl might be just as happy without knowing him as her father. Chapter 14. Molly is given a simple burial. The villagers are surprised by Silas' desire to keep the child and they become sympathetic towards him. Silas is grateful and cares the little girl well and he wants the girl to attach to him from the start. Silas remains amazed by the girl's arrival and thinks that his gold has turned into the child. Dolly says Silas to have the child baptized, but the Silas does not know what the ceremony means. Dolly tells him to suggest a name for the girl and he says Hepzibah, the name of his mother and sister. Dolly says that the name doesn't sound like Christine's name and is little long. Silas says that the name is from Bible and adds that his little sister was called Ippy for short. Ippy and Silas are baptized together. Silas finds that the child brings him closer to the villagers and the young Ippy is endlessly curious and demanding. Her desires are infectious and she hurriedly explores the world around her. Ippy tempts Silas away from his work to play outside. In spring and summer, Silas takes Ippy to the field of flowers beyond the stone pit and sits and watches her play. Silas' growth mirrors Ippy's. He begins to explore memories and thought he has kept locked away for many years. Ippy soon developed a capacity for mischief and Silas is troubled to punish her. He takes the advice of Dolly, shutting her in the coal hole. Silas only once done and Ippy finds the coal hole as much fun as the field. Silas drops all ideas of punishing her in the future. He takes her to the farmhouse and Ippy makes him seem human to his neighbors. Now he has a child and gold he earns seems unimportant. Chapter 15. Godfrey sees his child is grown safe and much happier in the hand of Silas. He becomes happy that Dunstan hasn't returned to reveal his secret. So he feels that he has begun a new life. His relationship with Nancy is progressing nicely. He is also determined to make sure that Ippy is some way receives part of her birthright. He wants to do well by her.